Hi, my name is Sharyn Wortman. It's March the 10th, 2025, and this is my studio. Welcome. I'm a contemporary artist. I live and work in London. I'm originally from Australia. I was born in Melbourne, but I've been here for over 25 years now, so it's been quite a while. I have recently graduated from the Royal College of Art, where I majored in ceramics and glass, but I've always been a painter and a drawer, and my practice really is multidisciplinary. Currently, I'm working on some very oversized drawings in my studio. I'm working with charcoal, I'm working with natural chalks that I found in the South Downs, I'm working with pigments, I'm also using dust, and what I'm doing is making these very large, immersive, energetic, almost imaginary landscapes for myself, but also for the viewer to be immersed in. I think there's a real renaissance for drawing at the moment. These were the most extraordinary charcoal heads that Frank Auerbach had done at the Courtauld that I saw last year. And these are some drawings actually that were made for my Royal College of Art degree show, just some postcards. The actual final thing is actually this big. This is in a crate ready to go out the door. But I think drawing is becoming more and more important at the moment, and I think it's about the artist being present in the room and capturing a moment. And when we see a drawing, we're actually witnessing the artist's hand and the artist's mark on the page. There's an incredible energetics that comes through work by working on location. Whether the work becomes ultimately a landscape or not, the mark making is truly informed by the spirit of the space, about the feeling, about the temperature and the sensations whilst making marks. I've been really interested recently in frottage and the idea that as we're drawing, we're pushing material into the page, but with frottage you're actually also, the landscape is pushing back, or the room or the space is actually pushing back against the paper. So the paper is actually experiencing forces from both sides. So these are small sketches that I'll work up into larger sketches later. One of the things I love about my art practice is being able to find new and interesting things to use, things and materials that surprise you and that come for free. I think it was Robert Rauschenberg who actually used to scour the streets of New York looking for found objects he could incorporate into his work. And if he had walked the block without finding anything, he was really disappointed. I think those days are gone in New York, but definitely when I moved into my studio here, I found a treasure trove of slate roofing tiles that had been piled up beside the wall of my space. I had been thinking about working on black paper or black material or blackboards even, like Cy Twombly. And so what I did was I bought one of these tiles in and I looked at it and I started to work into it. And then I bought another one in, and then another one, and then before I knew it, I had all of the slates inside my studio, and I've been working them up into a series of landscape, again, imaginary sort of spaces with chalks and with pigments. You ask me what is the biggest challenge about being an artist? I think it's just showing up each day. I feel really fortunate that I'm in a position now where I can come to my studio each and every day, and when people ask me how many days a week are you in the studio, and I tell them 5 or 7, however many I can get to the space, they're always amazed. So I think it's showing up each day and having that belief to just keep making work. And regardless of whether you have somewhere for that work to land, whether anyone's seeing that work or not, it's to stay connected to other people who are also doing the same thing. To have conversations that are really genuine, deep, interesting conversations that will drive your practice forward. But just to keep showing up, that's the hardest part. What advice would I give to my younger self? Well, I might say start on the fine art career a little bit sooner, because I waited quite a while. I went and did a commercial degree in art first and went on to work in advertising for many years. But that experience taught me so much. It taught me so much about budgeting and timelines and managing clients and deliverables. And I think that actually was really extraordinary experience and great skills to learn in business. And so now when I think about my art practice, I'm also often thinking about branding and how do I put my message out into the world, and how do I keep that really clean and clear and concise. And the presentation skills I learned in advertising, they were also really useful as well. So probably my advice to my younger self was just keep following your heart and everything will come in time. Whilst I was at the RCA, we had a fantastic photographic technical person called Simon Ward. And he was such an influence on my time there. And I think he's an influence for a lot of students at the RCA. But his mantra was, whenever you arrived to the photography studio, you turned on the lights and the first thing was music. And so I often think of him because the first thing I do when I arrive to my studio is always think, music first, coffee second. Coffee was always his go-to second as well. And if both of those things are in place, then you're ready to begin the day. So I often listen to music while I'm working, and it depends on the type of work I'm doing and the mood I'm in as to what kind of music, so I listen to all sorts. But on my journey to and from the studio, I'm often listening to podcasts as well. So that's what I'm usually listening to if it's not complete silence and my own thoughts. When I put my work up on the wall for the degree show, and there were very large-scale photographic prints of room set size installation drawings I had done, I think one of the greatest responses I had to the work was people stopping and taking time to try to understand how I'd made the image and sort of being inspired by the process. But I had caught two gentlemen at one stage standing there for about 40 minutes, deep in conversation with each other, and they were discussing ideas and things that had arisen just because they had been standing in front of my work. So that is actually one of the most rewarding things, is to see people stop, to arrest them and distract them from their daily lives, and then to see what conversations come from them viewing my work. It leads to a further questioning.